Hey guys, Anthony Laporta Jr. In-home fitness and health, happiness, and success. I'm going to show you some simple work on the ground to get your core firing, turn everything on, tighten the abs, get the glutes and the hamstrings woken up. I do this a lot in my warm-up with clients. I do it in my own warm-up. Sets and reps you're going to play with based on your ability. So I'm not going to say too much about that, but you want it to be challenging. Whatever that appropriate challenge is for you. You know, for one person, it's 10 reps in 10 seconds. For another person, it's 100. So let's figure that out on our own or together with me if we work together. So the first move, I'm going to do a supine, which means on my back, long arm and long leg dead bug. Now the easy version is going to be one arm and one leg at a time, opposite right arm, left leg, and I stay long and I don't allow them to touch the floor. And I would get my however many reps, and then I would do the other side. Now what's harder is going to be if I get all four of my limbs off the ground as well as my chest. So I'm going to be using way more abdominals, way more of my core. Once everything's engaged, now I'm going to alternate sides and keep that up. Keeping the legs straight. You can have a slight bend in the knee like I do, but the straighter we keep it, we get a little bit of nice stretch on the hamstring while we're firing the hip flexors and the quads. And that's my straight arm, straight leg, dead bugs. Glute bridges is a pretty simple exercise. Goes all the way back, to the aerobics days of the 70s, even further back than that. But basically, I want to keep my feet and knees about shoulder width apart, hands on the ground. Now we can make these more challenging in many ways with the basic glute bridge. I still like to take my toes off the ground. I feel I get a better contraction of the glute and better pairing to the hamstring when I go through the heel. And the best way to ensure I'm pushing through the heel and not through the toe is take the toes off the floor. And then from here, we're just going to elevate as high as I can get and back down. Think about squeezing your glutes as hard as you can. You want to be making like a fist with your buttocks, with your glutes, and getting as high as you can so that you will stretch your hip flexors. Okay, these get tight. We want to stretch that out. So at the top, I should have a nice straight line from the knee to my hip to my shoulder if I can get high enough. Some people will only be here because they're very tight, or they're also very weak in the glute and hamstring. So if you can get nice and high, we know that that glute is fully firing and that you're getting some good stretch into those hip flexors. Those are your glute bridges. We're going to do a plank and we're going to do a push-up plank. So a plank is pretty simple. We're going to come down on the ground. I like to go on my elbows with my fists connected. You can have them apart. Some people go flat. Some people do the ridge hand. I make fists. I make a little triangle here. Feet together is harder. Wider is a lot easier, but I like to keep them roughly together. First thing I'm going to do is lock up those legs, right? Make sure the legs are helping. Lock up those quads and squeeze your glutes. Start by squeezing the glutes into the floor before I even elevate. And now what you're looking for is that you're a plank from your shoulder to your glutes. That you're not up in the air, that you're not collapsing, that you're not rotating to one side or the other. And you hold that position. And then we can also do the push-up plank, which basically, I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to, again, lock up those legs and glutes. Now, if you can do a push-up, you can start from here and just get yourself up. If you can't, just start from your knees. You want your wrist to be below the shoulder, about shoulder width apart. And that way, when I come into my position, I'm angled right above it. So if these arms were out here, that's way harder on my shoulder and my stomach, and I'm not going to last. I want to be right about where I would be doing my push-up. Hence, it's a push-up plank. So still, same rules apply. No sag, no downward dog, no rotation. Everything is locked in a nice plank. And I want to keep the neck. So you should be facing the floor, not extended, not flexed, just a nice neutral neck position. And the last one I'll show you is called bird dog. Again, there's a lot of ways to do these, and we can add bands and a lot of different things. We can make them really hard by coming off the ground, but the basic is I'm in all 4 points of contact with the ground. Again, my wrist is below my shoulder. And I'm going to go right arm and left leg, and I'm going to reach out in front and behind me. Now, I like to flex that ankle, okay? Don't point the toe. You're kicking someone with your heel. That leg should become totally straight, where if they ran from my ankle down to my glute to my shoulder, that would be one straight line. And then the arm, I'm going to get as straight as I can as well. Now we can just hold this, or we can do taps. We can alternate sides. The key here to make this effective at all, as opposed to a waste of time, is to hold that extended position and your spine remains neutral. It doesn't teeter-totter and you don't go up and down. So I see people do this and they'll say to me, hey, you know, coach, I don't feel anything. It's a waste of my time. Why are we doing these? Because they're doing it and it looks like this. No. You're all over the place. You're not even giving anything a chance to engage. You didn't stretch. You want to feel that long lengthening of the spine, lengthening of the hamstring, firing of the quad, reaching through the shoulder. Right? This isometric hold. When I tap, it's slow. It's not so much that I become a cat or a cow. I keep that spine neutral. And that's the bird dog. Try stringing those together, playing with the amount of reps or the amount of time you hold different positions. Again, we can make anything harder, and we should be able to make it easier so that anyone out there can be at the appropriate challenge. I tell people all the time, if this is your appropriate challenge, okay, if you're training up here above what's appropriate, what's going to happen? You're going to get hurt. And if you're training down here, where it's too easy, what's going to happen? You're never going to get any results. We need to find that window that's appropriate for you, for your goals, so that you can be more healthy, happy, and successful.